Hello everyone and welcome to another installment of Rapid Fire Reviews. So I do these when I get a little behind, and I am very much behind on my movie watching of the year. So I basically pick 4 movies that I either missed out on that were in theaters or kind of the more straight to streaming service movies. And we give you my general thoughts on them. Very quick reviews, thoughts, if I liked it or not, what I thought worked well, what I thought didn't work well with it, and just a quick overview of these movies. So the 4 that we have today are Drifting Home, God's Country, Entergalactic, and Hocus Pocus 2. So yes, without further ado, let me get into my reviews for all 4 of these films. So the first film we have is Drifting Home. You will find this one on Netflix, and it is about 2 hours long. It follows 2 childhood friends who drift into a mysterious sea with an entire housing complex, and they have a few of their friends with them. But this is an anime film that you'll find available in multiple languages, but I watched this in the original Japanese. And the animation in this is pretty stunning. It's very, very well drawn. If you've seen any of kind of like the really popular anime films that have come out within like the last 5 years, or you're kind of used to some of the Studio Ghibli type animation, this is very close and definitely inspired by that style. And yeah, when it comes to just the art direction, all of that, it is absolutely beautiful and glorious. There's a lot of really, really good cinematographic shots that are put into this, and very, very beautiful watch. And the story itself it's a coming of age story. It does a few things that I wish it kind of would have done a little bit more. I thought it was definitely going to be a little more of a coming age story than it was. And again, too, just it has a lot of connections to the past, where while these kids are drifting away at sea, they start seeing a ton of old buildings that were torn down, demolished, or just a bunch of things from their past that are gone now start reappearing in this sea. And I found that the commentary on that and the explanation around everything wasn't fully done in a way that was not in the sense that it wasn't comprehensible, but there was just, I felt like a lot of this movie missing because some of the pacing issues that this film has, and it did really feel like it fell flat in a lot of its, again, to just plots, little stories within the characters. It felt like this could have been a lot more and a lot more fleshed out. So really, with everything taken together, I'm gonna have to give Drifting Home a 7 out of 10. It is a decent watch if you like the anime style movies and you want something to kind of connect to the characters, connect your childhood a little bit. This is definitely up your alley in terms of that sense. Next film I have is God's Country. This film is about an hour and 40 minutes long, and it is directed by Julian Higgins and stars Thandie Newton. So it is about a college professor who's confronting 2 hunters she catches trespassing on her property. She's drawn into then an escalating battle of wills and catastrophic consequences from, again, she was just trying to get these people she deems as dangerous off of her property. But we don't really get a whole lot of that until the last, I want to say, mostly half an hour, but last 20 minutes of this film. There is a lot of talk, again, to just about race, living different lives, stepping into other people's shoes, societal issues, and again, to just kind of rights of property. And there is a lot of cinematographic shots that are put within this film that are really stunning and beautiful, and show off, again, to just the kind of barren landscapes that these characters live on. But there's too much of it at times, and this movie can feel very, very lost in some of these premises, and again, to just the landscape that it's going for. It is a very bland movie, very slow, very boring. It doesn't feel like tensions ever really build up all too much until there's kind of one of those really easy gut punches that the movie does to make you feel upset and feel for Thandie Newton's character, in a sense that I don't want to go into spoilers here too much, but it's kind of the easiest way for you to get into someone's character and like make them feel a bit of a loss. It just didn't really feel earned. It felt like a low blow in terms of storytelling. And yeah, the way this wraps up and ends, again, too, just wasn't something that I found was deserved or earned. It was way too slow for the runtime, and just, I don't know, for so much of this movie to happen off screen, I found was just really tough to get into, and not really anything I could recommend. So I'm gonna have to give God's Country a 4 out of 10 at the end of the day. Thandie Newton is incredible in the movie, and she's definitely what gets this movie all 4 of its points in terms of my score, but yeah, this is easily a passable one. The third film I have is Entergalactic. This is created by Kid Cudi, and it's almost like a visual movie for his new album of the same name that just dropped yesterday. So, yeah, he created the characters, created the music for this film, and yeah, he plays a character named Jabari, who's a charming streetwear clad artist on the cusp of real success after a chance run in with his new photographer neighbor, Meadow. Him and, of course, Meadow have to figure out whether they can make space for each other within their lives and create a love life for one another. So, this takes place in New York, and it is definitely like a love in New York City, the city story that I found was actually, well, for one, it's animated, and the visuals in it are absolutely beautiful. And it's a really, really cool and unique style that really, really worked with, again, to just the music and the visuals that they wanted to put in it just worked really, really well. The characters are definitely very easy to relate to and funny. They all have their quirks and their, again, just their points in the story. And it actually has a very solid voice cast. Of course, you have Kid Cudi as the main character, but you have the talents of Timothée Chalamet, Vanessa Hudgens, Keith David is in this, Laura Harrier, Jessica Williams, Tiana Taylor, Ty Dolla $ign, like a bunch of people who lend their voice, basically all Kid Cudi's friends lending the voice to this project. And yeah, it is a very simple but very sweet, and again, too, just real story about finding connections and finding love, and again to finding that while you're pursuing your own passions, and it feels like, again, to when the world can be at your back, have your back, and then all come collapsing down within like your relationship. And again, so it's just the visuals that complements the storytelling, the music, and everything I found was very, very good. Of course, too, Kid Cudi's album feels like when you listen to it, it sounds like a cinematic soundtrack, and it fits really, really well into this universe here, and all of it's incorporated into, of course, the movie. And yeah, no, this was just something that, again, was very short, simple, and sweet, but very, very effective in everything that it's tried to do. So I'm going to have to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but if you're a fan of Kid Cudi and his music, or even to just if you want to get into the really cool animation style, it works really, really well into just a very simple but very, again, effective love story. And now the last film we have is Hocus Pocus 2. You will find this one on Disney Plus. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long, and of course, it is the sequel to, well, the very long-awaited Hocus Pocus movie that was very big in terms of my childhood. All the teachers basically played this every single year when I was in school for the Halloween kind of have a fun day movie watching school day. So of course, this one is about 3 young women who accidentally bring back the Sanderson sisters to modern day Salem, and again, and they must figure out how to stop the child hungry witches from wreaking havoc on the world. So of course, the Sanderson sisters plot and a lot of like the pacing of this movie is super similar to the first one. It's it's, I don't want to say a carbon copy, but it is very, very similar. Yeah, I'm certain to, if you watch the first one and hearing that now, you'll be able to piece together the plot of this movie pretty easily. There again, the mission's exactly the same. The characters are pretty much the same, but just again too, they're able to throw in modern day tropes and things like that into this, which some of them work really, really well. And this movie can be extremely funny at points. There's a department store scene that I found was the humor in that scene was really, really good. You have just really fun sequences where the witches are trying to find their brooms so they can fly and travel quicker, but all they're able to find is like Swiffer dusters and Roombas, and they're flying around the town like basically skateboarding on Roombas in the air. And of course, too, the 3 witches from the original film, so Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. I always pronounce her name wrong. But yeah, they're back reprising their roles, and they're just as great as they were the first time around. But again, too, this is just a very simple and fun movie that's kind of the fun side of Halloween. Something very easy to get into, more aimed towards the kids, like, again, the family-friendly side of Halloween. And it does, again, too, just the humor, the visuals, all of that really, really well. And it is very quirky and just something very easy to get into. I do say I did enjoy the first one a little bit more just because, again, too, it was something new for the time. And even though this was a bit of a copy, the second one, it still was able to find really good moments within the Sanderson sisters, not painting them as villains, but just again, kind of showing how human they are in ways. And I found it was a really good kind of story, especially near the end, something very touching for their characters that make you understand them a little bit more. They're definitely too, they carry this movie over top of the human characters who you're kind of rolling your eyes at most of the time, questioning their decisions. Sometimes too, I feel like a lot of people are going to find the kids maybe a little bit annoying or just kind of thinking, oh, well, of course it was going to go this way. Like, what do you think was going to happen trying to summon witches, things like that. But no, the Sanderson sisters and the three actresses definitely carry this movie. Something very goofy and simple to get into, but effective again in the way that it tries to do it. So I'm going to have to give Hocus Pocus 2 7 out of 10. Highly recommended if you like the first film. And again, too, if you just have kids who want to get into the family-friendly side of Halloween, this is a very easy watch for the family. So if you've seen any of these 4 films, please let me know what you thought of them in the comments down below. And of course, if you like these reviews, definitely give it a thumbs up. And you can check out everything I do on the channel through a playlist down below, and I'll link some up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and clicking that little bell so you know when I upload new videos. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time sinking into the silence.